EPP, MSI, Cooperative Science Centers. We really implore you to sit back and get ready to learn some new information about the infusion of social science. Our webinar title is The Advancement of Social Sciences in Federal Agencies, New Initiatives and Synergies. Our presenters today are Dr. Monica Grasso, and she's the Chief Economist at NOAA, Dr. David Yakowitz, and he's the Senior Executive Director at the Heart Institute. You'll get more information as they're going to be introduced. But I'd ask you to, if you're not muted, to mute your microphone at this time. There will be an opportunity at the end of the presentations to ask your questions. But I would say if something's burning in your mind and in your heart to ask, put it in the chat. We have someone who is monitoring the chat so that all questions will be addressed. And we are going to record this and make it available in case you just miss a good word that you need to get your research going and to share it with your center. Again, welcome. Thank you for joining us for the NOAA EPP MSI Cooperative Science Centers CSC Education Leads. Thank you. At this time, Dr. Reza, he's going to, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce your last name, Reza.
Okay.
But he is the principal investigator at the center at City University in New York. So I'll let him introduce himself as well as our first speaker. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Bernadette. Hi, guys. My name is Reza Kambilwardi. I'm the director of the Center for Air System Sciences and Remote Sensing Technology, also known as CESR, one of the 4 cooperative science centers. And I'm delighted to be the person to introduce Dr. Monica Grasso, who's also a member of our advisory board. Dr. Grasso joined NOAA in May 2016 as the chief economist, working in the office of the chief financial officer. Dr. Grasso leads NOAA's social science and performance team. She provides expertise and strategic leadership to promote, coordinate, and implement the use of rigorous economic analysis to support NOAA's mission. Prior to joining NOAA, Dr. Grasso served as chief economist at the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, in the Department of Homeland Security, providing expert advice, guidance, and assistance to the agency's leadership and key management officials on economic trends in the transportation industry and the impact of policy on the public and industry. With that, I give you Dr. Grasso.
Thank you, Reza. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yes. Thank you. So I, first of all, just thank you all for the invitation to participate in this webinar series. And today I'll be talking about the important role of social science plays in our agency. Social science has always been in the forefront of everything NOAA does to meet its mission and advance its priorities and drive positive societal and economic change. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So before I start my presentation, just to make sure you are familiar with NOAA, and I'll just give you a brief overview what NOAA does and how our mission impacts your everyday life. NOAA provides timely and reliable information based on sound science to communities and businesses every day. From daily weather forecasts, severe storm warnings, and fisheries management. Just to give you a magnitude of our operations, we have 16 weather satellites in operations, and we are collecting around 76 billion weather observations. And based on these observations, we provide 1.5 million forecasts to 50,000 warnings each year. We archive 26 terabytes of oceanic atmospheric and geographical information data per month. And observations, we have observations dating from 1854. So with our effective management, fisheries management as well, I think there's a great news here that we also, since 2000, we were able to rebuild 46 fish stocks, just to give you an idea of everything that NOAA does. So if you go to the next slide, please. Here we have the 6 NOAA line offices. We have the NOS, the Ocean Service. We have the Weather Service, Fisheries. We also have NASDAS and OMAO. And there's another line office that's missing from this slide. That's our Office of Research. So NASDAS and OMAO, they provide information. So NASDAS build the satellites and also deal with all the data information that we collect. So we keep archives. OMAO has the vessels and aircraft, and the research office works with all the line offices to develop models and any other type of applied research that is needed for NOAA's mission. Next slide, please. So here we have 3 overarching NOAA priorities. So the first one is to develop the state-of-the-art weather and water models. Next one is to foster the growth of our blue economy and also to promote space innovation. So you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. And in addition to our priorities, we have recently finalized some science and technology strategies for some of the key emerging science and technology issues that our goal with this is really to maintain NOAA's role as the world leader in providing environmental data and earth science. So here we have the artificial intelligence, uncrewed or unmanned systems. The omics is basically using genomics to, for example, fisheries use genomics to identify different species of fish in some areas. The cloud, I'll be talking about the cloud a little bit more during this presentation. Data strategy, because we have so much data, so we are compiling this data strategy, make sure we integrate it through the line offices, and also citizen science. So recently we have been working with citizens to collect a lot of information. There are a lot of volunteers that help NOAA achieve its mission, and we thought that would be great to have, this up and front this as a science technology strategy. Thank you. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do. I have a team. So as a chief economist at NOAA, I lead a team that focuses on the NOAA-wide integration of performance and social science functions. We are housed in the office of the Chief Financial Officer, so we are not in the line office. We are in the mission support offices, like the CFO. Also, education is part of the mission support office. So basically, the mission support offices work with all the line offices to make sure we achieve our mission effectively. We can go to the next slide, please. Here, just the type of services we provide to NOAA and the capabilities that we have in our team. We have currently 9 economists working our team. And as you see, it's very different types of, we have different types of expertise and capabilities. We try to provide those expertise to line offices as needed. Some line offices have, for example, fisheries, very well developed economic capability, but they often need help with their surveys, and so we provide some help with the process of the Paperwork Reduction Act. For them, I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. Other offices are not as developed in the economic side, and we provide different types of services to them. So it's a wide range of services that we provide to NOAA. Next slide, please. Here's so basically that social science in economics is a very important component of the executive decision support in NOAA. And it is definitely one of our core purposes at the agency, provide this type of service. So what our team does, so we provide evidence and statistics for budget preparation, budget justification for NOAA, so we can have a strong budget request. We provide guidance to many of the line offices in developing robust economic analysis. And we also do a lot of collaboration between agencies and also international collaboration. I'm going to be talking about a project on the interagency coordination. And we also develop studies. So we develop studies related to, we do economic evaluation, societal benefits, market research, and development as well. So next slide. Okay, so NOAA Social Science Committee. We do have a social science committee, and I think David is going to be talking right after me, and he was actually he was at NOAA when this was developed. So you have a good background about the development of the Social Science Committee, also as our vision strategy documents. So the Social Science Committee, it is one important mechanism to coordinate and enhance social science activities across the agency. It's chaired by the chief economist, so I'm currently the chair of the chief economist. We have line offices representatives and also staff office of mission support offices representative. And the Social Science Committee reports directly to the Science Council at NOAA. And as I said, if you go to the next slide, please, the Social Science Committee developed the vision and strategy. And the strategy involves integrating social science into the agency operations by pursuing those three main goals. So one is define and measure NOAA's impact on society, use science to improve effectiveness of NOAA products, and increase the understanding and application of social science in NOAA. There are several examples of social science projects that support these goals, and I'll be providing some examples today in my presentation. So if you go to the next slide, please. So for FY20, we did a data call. So we heard that we have over 400 social science projects going on in NOAA right now. And as you see, there's a variety of categories that involve social science on this project. And you see that 50% of those projects are under our Office of Ocean and Atmospheric Research. But I would say that those projects they do involve collaboration with other line offices and also with our cooperative institutes. And the next slide, please. To see, those are the type of social science projects that we had in FY20. As you see, majority is applied research, but we also develop guidances, training and education. We have training and education projects and some tools that can be that help NOAA achieve its mission. I'm going to be talking about one of them. So, and here, before I talk about our projects, I just want to highlight some federal mandates that do require the agencies to have good social science capability. And social science plays an important role in allowing NOAA to effectively carry out its mission. And in many cases, social science work is required by law. So I just want to make sure, you're aware of that. And these are just the main ones that I since we don't have a whole day. So I just want to highlight the main ones. So if you go to the next slide, please. The first one is the Evidence Act, and this is the most recent one. This law was passed in 2018. And the agencies are still working, our office is working with all the line houses to implement this Evidence Act. But basically, the Act requires that agencies base their policy and operations decisions on evidence. And since policy effectiveness and evidence are primarily focused on outcomes for people, for the public, so social science will play a key role in the implementation of this Evidence Act. If you go to the next slide, there's a lot of information in this slide, but basically the Act has 3 titles, and for now I just want you to focus on Title 1 and Title 2. Basically, Title 1 focused on agencies developing the capacity to create and evaluate the evidence they have. And sorry about that. And then Title 2 requires efforts to improve information data sharing between agencies and also make data more available to the public. And this is key for social science because we are data heavy. We need a lot of information that's sometimes not collected by NOAA, it's collected by another agency. And in some cases, it's difficult for us to get this data. So this is going to be very, very key for the development of social science. Next one, please, is the Paperwork Reduction Act. And this is a law governing all federal agencies that collect information from the American public. And so social science requires a lot of surveys. So we are very much involved in this process. Every time you need to prepare a survey, you need to go through the Paperwork Reduction Act that requires OMB approval. And so this approval process, it does ensure that you have a relevant and sound social science, that your methodologies are clear. And if you have a good capacity in social science in the agency, the process can run very smoothly. If you don't have good social scientists that can put this information, this request together for the Office of Management and Budget, you might have some issues and not be able to properly get your survey approved by OMB. And then next slide is the Executive Order 12866, and that basically requires all the federal agencies that have regulatory actions to do a cost-benefit analysis on significant regulatory actions. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but basically you do need to have good social scientists in your agency if you want to regulate any industry. The next one is the Weather Act, and this law was passed in 2017 and directs NOAA to improve its forecastability. Also directs NOAA to reduce the impacts of weather events and improve the effectiveness of NOAA's warnings and other communication related to severe weather. And this is primarily a social science problem and will require interdisciplinary collaboration across, the physical and the social science. And the last one I have here in the next slide is the Magnuson-Stevens Act. This act governs fisheries in federal waters and mandates NOAA to increase the long-term economic effect of and social benefits created by the U.S. fisheries. It requires extensive study of economics of U.S. fisheries and community supported by this industry. Now the next slide here, yes, examples of social science and NOAA. So as I have already stated, NOAA engaged in a wide range of social science activities to support NOAA's missions and priorities and to fulfill its mandates. And so I divided those examples in 3 different categories just to give you a flavor of what we do. We have, as I said, we have 400, more than 400 social science projects going on at NOAA right now, but I select some examples for you, just for you to have an idea of those projects. So the next slide, please. So measuring economic impact. You can go to the next one. Okay, measuring NOAA's value to the nation. We have developed reports, many reports demonstrating the NOAA's value to the nation, but I want to highlight 2 for you. One is the NOAA by the numbers. This was a compilation of many economic statistics related to NOAA's mission. And also the other report is the NOAA's contribution to the economy that highlights NOAA's contribution to specific sectors. They were both developed in 2018, available on our website. If you Google NOAA Chief Economist, you go to the website and you can have access to all those reports that I'm mentioning here today. Basically, the audience for this report is a NOAA leadership employees. So if you're developing presentations, talks, so you have good statistics that you can present. Also, White House, Congress, external stakeholders, and also to inform the public in general. And just a note, the NOAA by the numbers, we're now working, it was in 2018, was a PDF document. We are now working to have an interactive website that we can be able to search for the statistics directly from the website, to come by next year. Next slide. Here, the Ocean Economy Satellite Account. So this is brand new project. We released this account. It's a prototype right now, but we released the account in June this year, and it is a result of 3-year collaboration with the Bureau of Economic Analysis. It's the Bureau in DOC, NOAA, and the Bureau of Economic Analysis are under the Department of Commerce. And the Bureau of Economic Analysis is the one that publishes our GDP. So we call satellite account because it is an account that is almost like a satellite to our GDP account. And this account measures a diverse array of economic activities that are dependent on oceans. And so far, this is the most comprehensive and accurate statistics that we have produced at national level. If we go to the next slide, just to illustrate, we have 10 sectors. And actually, this slide on the title, you have the link to the BEA website that you can download all the statistics, all the spreadsheets with the statistics, all the information is on that website. But basically, we have those 10 sectors. They're pretty self-explanatory. I just want to highlight maybe, for example, fisheries and other byproducts. So we have all the fisheries information there, but also we have emerging industries like marine pharmaceuticals, research and education, all the investments we have in research and education, including academic institutions, labs, etc. Public, national defense and public administration. Here we have the defense and non-defense investments from the governments. And I think most of them are pretty self-explanatory. Any more information on those sectors, you can, if you click to the link, you can get information on the website. And next slide. Here are just some results. I just want just to illustrate what we got from this account, just to show the importance of the ocean economy to the U.S. It's we got it's 617 billion in sales, and this is more than utilities, agriculture, and even IT services. Next slide, please. And here, just to show you the promise and the growth of the ocean economy compared to the U.S. economy. It has, in some areas related to GDP and to the sales of what we call gross output, it has grown faster than the U.S. economy. Next slide. Okay, so I know I'm providing a lot of information to you. I just want to make sure you have all this information. Feel free to contact me if you need more detail, any of the projects I'm presenting right now. So now I want to talk about maximizing a project that we had at NOAA to maximize the value of the NOAA data. So as I said, data, NOAA has a lot of data. NOAA is a big data agency. So we, in the past 4 years, we have been working on what we call the Big Data Program. And this project, it was done through our Chief Information Officer, but basically it was enabled by a series of partnerships with cloud service providers, such as Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, and Microsoft. So NOAA worked with those partners to transfer data from NOAA archives and other sources and be available in the cloud platform and ultimately be easily available to any end user. The users across all sector establishments are able to see and have improved, see the data, have improved access to the NOAA. So this project was great because sometimes we have inside NOAA infrastructure issues of providing so much data to the public. So in that way, the cloud providers could make this data available for free to the public as well. And here in this slide, I just have a quick example of the use of the cloud, and as a result of the big data program. And so one example is the access to what we call the precision navigation information. NOAA provides information such as water levels, currents, and water temperature, wind salinity, pressure, to support end users like maritime pilots, port authorities, shipping companies, so they can integrate the data sources to determine the best route when you have, for example, navigating waterways are congested. So they can pull all this data and see what is the best way for me to get my ship in the port right now. So giving all the conditions of the environment. Those improvements on the precision navigation has saved shippers an estimated $10 million a year. Next slide is understanding the impacts on communities. So I have some projects. You can go to the next one. Thank you. So we have some projects that do work directly with community and provide information to the community, make sure we have a better understanding of the impacts of different activities to those communities. So for example, here we have one that is upcoming as we develop offshore wind as an alternative source of energy. Fisheries, for example, has been working with, collaborating with the Bureau of Ocean and Energy Management to analyze the impact of offshore renewable energy on fisheries. And then if you go to the next slide, we have the social indicators for fisheries communities. And this is very interesting. Fisheries has developed a tool mapping 4,600 coastal communities and in 23 states. And they developed a tool, and this tool contains indicators describing the social, economic, psychological well-being of coastal communities engaging in fisheries activities. Okay, next slide. Thank you. So marine debris. We also, in 2019, NOAA, the Marine Debris Program, and NOAA supported a study to investigate how the presence of marine debris can impact the recreational use and economy in coastal areas. This study found that the amount of marine debris can have a substantial impact on coastal economies that depend on tourism. And just an example, this is a big study. We have more data on that. Yeah, if you want, just let me know, or you can Google marine debris. For example, in Orange County, California, eliminating marine debris will result in 130 million increase in recreational value to that area. Okay, and then risk communication. I think this is the last pool of examples that I have for you. So in terms of risk communication related to weather, so social science plays a key role in ensuring the effectiveness of the weather enterprise. Social science improves the effectiveness of our messaging about weather, help determine best investments for observing infrastructure, also help advocate for the importance of investing in weather information. If you go to the next slide. So given the importance of risk communication, not just for weather, we also have oceans, floods, and there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of weather-related risk hazards that needs to be communicated to the public. So with that, knowing that we developed in 2018, we developed this tool for communicating risk and uncertainty to the public, and this is also available on our website. It's a very easy to use tool, a step-by-step tool that you can use. Anybody can use, actually. And if you go to the next slide, please. And it is basically use the 8 steps process for risk communication. That is characterizing the risk, identify the risk communication goals and challenges, understanding your audience, create your message, find the best way to convey your message, testing your message, identify the metrics to evaluate the risk communication plan, identify the staff and the resources you need, and then implement the plan. And then you implement the plan and you evaluate again and go through the same steps. Slide, please. So here's some examples of risk communication materials that NOAA has developed. For example, this one, turn around and don't draw. It's to raise awareness. When you have floods, people driving through areas that are flooded, many deaths occur because the drivers don't know that only 12 inches of water, like rushing water, can carry your vehicle away. So we developed this, I think, in English and Spanish as well. Next slide, please. This one, the rip currents, also very important issue. We have rip currents. I think there are an estimated 100 deaths per year due to rip current fatalities. And also 80% of the ocean rescues are rip related. So the Weather Service and also the Ocean Service have developed materials for the public to understand what we call how to break the grip. All this information is available on the NOAA website. And next slide, please. This one is related to lightning. Also, see flash dash inside. Quick message. Lightning kills about 20 or more people in the US per year, and hundreds more are severely injured due to lightning. So NOAA developed this lightning safety information, and other graphics and information as well available on the website. But I think the key is to have like a very simple message to the public so you know what to do. Next slide, please. Yes, and education and training. This is, I think, my last slide. I just want to make sure you're all aware that the Social Science Committee has developed the Social Science Basics course. It has different modules, very good course. The main audience for this was all the line officers to be aware of and better understand of social science and how they can use social science to achieve their mission more effectively. But it is also available to the general public. You can click on our website and you can go through the training. It's very good, easy to use, and it does, in NOAA Lab, it does make the connection between social science and what NOAA does. It has a lot of good concepts about social science, so NOAA can better understand the social science research and how better use it, and has also some practical best practices in using social science and partnering with the social scientists. And that's my, yes, that's my last slide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Grasso. Very enlightening, a lot of information that our participants can use. And I know you're going to get those questions. We're just about another maybe 15, 20 minutes. So we're going to hold off. Joanne, do we have any questions in the chat that are burning?
No questions in the chat at this time.
Okay. Dr. Grasso, thank you again. I know you're going to be hearing from our scholars within the CSCs. Thank you, Dr. Reza. At this time, I'm going to introduce our next speaker is Dr. David Yakowitz. He served as the Senior Executive Director of the Heart Institute for the Gulf of Mexico Studies, known as HRI, at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. He has held both faculty and administrative positions over the past 18 years at TAM-UCC and previously served as the HR's Associate Director for Research, Policy and Development, and the Institute's founding chairs as HRIs, Endowed Chair for Socioeconomics. Dr. Yakowitz has also held the position of Chief Economist for NOAA in 2014, 2015. So at this, I'm going to say, welcome, Dr. Yakowitz. Thank you.
Thanks, Bernadette. I apologize for being late. I had overlapping webinars in which I'm presenting on both of them. So but this is the last one for the day today. So I just have really a handful of slides that I want to share. I know Dr. Grasso has really kept really brought forward, all the work that's happening within NOAA, and so there's no need for me to repeat that. I think the opportunity that I bring is to think about, NOAA and the other federal agencies and the CSCs, given that I've had the experience of both, and some of the opportunities that I see for not only our students and how to prepare them in integrating the social, behavioral, and economic sciences, but also our faculty, right? So I guess you guys are driving this. So I would say, I had some animations, I apologize, but I would say next slide, please. Okay, well, okay, the animations were taken out. All right, that's fine. So just put your hand over that middle part where it says Google Translate for a moment, everybody. And because I really want you to think about, how do we get from our natural environment, kind of the biogeophysical sciences and engineering, over to these constituents of well-being, thinking about what is important to society, such as security, material health, social relations, freedom of choice, and action, right? So those things as humans that we hold dear, how do we begin to connect that with the natural environment? I tried to find an image that captures all the CSCs here. So I got a bit of weather, I got a bit of coastal environment. I didn't fit any satellites or remote sensing in there, but just kind of look above there and just assume that they're above the clouds looking down. So, there doesn't really exist a Google Translate sort of opportunity just to make that happen for us, right? I mean, we are going to have to be the translators. We're going to have to, you and I and everybody on this call and beyond are going to have to be the ones that make that connection between the natural environment and our human well-being. And there's many ways to do that. I think the CSCs are a great opportunity to begin to, bring those two seemingly disparate areas together in a much more intentional way. So next slide, please. So one way to think about this, and many of you are familiar with something along these lines, is this socio-ecological or social ecological cycle. And it's been packaged and framed in many different ways, but it's thinking about, the work that we might do as scientists or eventually managers, and how that impacts society, and then how the impacts on society might drive policy that drives changes in the things that we want to manage, which then drives changes in those biophysical structure functions, stocks, and conditions, which then impacts societal needs, which then goes back through the loop again and impacts management and policy decisions. So what we have to be thinking about, we being the CSCs, the students, the faculty within that, have to be thinking about is where do I plug in here? Well, you should be thinking about plugging in more than one of these boxes, right? You should be thinking about, more than your work, our work on the biogeophysical side of things, or my work on the socio-behavioral economic side of things, or somebody else's work on the management policy, because understanding this interconnectedness, that begins then for you to be thinking about how your work links to everything else, and how better to link to every one of these other boxes when you have a better understanding of the needs in those boxes, or how what you're looking at, how what you're studying, how the science that you're producing, the recommendations that you're making affects all these other boxes. So it's really thinking about, not taking you out of, your focus area, but how your focus area connects to everything else. Next slide, please. And so the real question is, at least for the CSCs, how do we set our students up for success in agencies, and not only NOAA, but beyond NOAA, all the other kind of federal mission agencies, as well as state agencies and beyond, and that are looking for that integrated experience, right? So I know Dr. Grasso has talked about, that there's really a lot of demand on this integrative, more holistic approach. And so having scientists educated and experienced in that more integrated and holistic approach is beneficial to not only them and their careers, but beneficial to society when they serve in these agencies and are doing that important work. So just next slide, just a couple of three things that I kind of have I want to bring forward that in my experience that I think is important to think about is, one, critically important. Well, there must be demand for these types of agency professionals, right? The ones that have this integrated background, this holistic understanding of how nature and society, human dimensions connect to each other. So that's critical. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that in NOAA for sure. And we're also seeing that in the other federal mission agencies. So that's, we can put a check mark there, but we'd like to make it a bigger check mark in the future. Number two, there must be opportunities for students and faculty. So I think that's critical, that the faculty are part of this process as well, to develop their skill set in the social, behavioral, economic, and policy sciences as it connects to the biogeophysical sciences and management, right? So we need to create a space for those opportunities to happen. The NERDOs can be part of that, but outside of the NERDO experience, experience in, summer core competency courses or directly in the research that they're doing. But a big part of that is the faculty need to be on board and need to be encouraging that more holistic and integrated approach. And then finally, the CSCs just writ large need to have that social, behavioral, and policy science faculty expertise, mentors in place to be able to drive this, to be able to significantly impact that integrated experience. It's not enough just to have a few of us as part of a particular CSC. There needs to be more, because the demand is great, right? The demand is great. And so the faculty and the mentors need to be in place to be able to service that demand. And I think there's room for improvement across the CSCs in that. So that was just a handful of things that I wanted to share with you. I know there's probably a lot of questions. I think I see some in the chat box, but just enough to maybe generate some discussion here.
Thank you, Dr. Yacob. Dr. Menswell Buddy, any questions that you'd like to read for the audience? Because we have some people on the phone. And thank you for joining us, those of you on the phone.
There is one question so far. Do you foresee any new research directives for NOAA concerning social science? I think that question came just after Dr. Grasso's presentation.
So thank
yes.
you. So as I said, the Evidence Act is one act that it's gonna lead to potential new directives and new needs and demand for social science, not just at NOAA but at all the federal agencies. So I think we should be watching very closely to the development of the Evidence Act as the agencies start to implement. We just finished putting together, the agencies just submitted their implementation plan. And in the implementation plan, basically what you have are research questions. What are the top research questions that your agency needs to answer? And what are the evidence that you're gonna show about, that you are answering those questions. So in this process, I think there'll be a lot of it. And as David said, the first topic, integrating and having the demand for social science. I was very, very happy when this Evidence Act passed. And I think this is going to be a very, the trigger to increase social science research at all federal agencies. I'll tell you, the budget of the federal agencies, when we submit requests, I'm sure R&B is going to be looking for evidence. So we'll need to work very hard to show that we have evidence, for our programs.
If I could just also add to that, I know, one of the things when I had the opportunity to be at NOAA, there was a lot of talk about for the various programs, kind of the return on investment that existed, whether, whatever we might be doing in terms of programs at NOAA or just the federal research enterprise writ large and management enterprise writ large. What I was trying to do is change that a little bit and think about the impact of the investment, right? Because these are taxpayer dollars. What is the impact back to society? And I think, Monica, that is translated somewhat what I'm hearing from you in the Evidence Act is why does this matter when we invest these hundreds of millions and billions of dollars in a particular area? What impact is it having on society? Really?
Exactly. Yeah. So we are focusing on outcomes, not just return on investment. And the outcomes, and it can be not just economical, right? So to mention well-being, there's so many outcomes that can come from all those operations and policies that we have. So yes.
Mm-hmm. Our participants are interested in the slides and wanting to share slides, so I'm sure we can do that. And there's one comment, David, you had a fantastic fantastic graphics showing how social science relates to other parts of NOAA, and wanting again to share your slides. So that's a comment.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was maybe one of that second slide or so talking about the socio-ecological cycle. So yeah, that's actually in a published journal article. So, but we can share that absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you very much. Are there any other questions that you have not? Mm-hmm. I think
there's one just came in. One just came in. How would you define is a transdisciplinary social science research in OAA's view?
I assume it's NOAA's view.
In NOAA's view, yes.
Okay.
NOAA, sorry.
Thank you. How I define transdisciplinary social science research.
That's Reza.
Yeah, Reza. So the transdisciplinary, research, social science research NOAA is it's basically what is needed, right? It's you integrating the physical scientists, all the disciplines that we have in physical scientists with the social scientists, with all the discipline in social science, right? Because social science is also, includes many specialities, like the physical scientists. We have meteorologists, also people studying oceanography, and then social science, you have economists, you have behavior scientists, you have risk communication, you have anthropologists. So the integration of all those components to actually make the mission and the operation more effective, I think that'll be, the concept of having a transdisciplinary social science research. I hope I answer your question.
Sure.
Are there any other questions that you may have, participants, especially the scholars that are online?
Is this the question from you, Bernadette? What pathways are available to assist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm always looking out for the faculty, because the students can't do what the faculty don't know what to do. So just some suggestions on how we can get our existing faculty, STEM faculties, to recognize the importance and the growing evidence needed for social science.
Well, I think, and Monica talked about the Evidence Act, right? I mean, I think it's amazing what a driver like that can do, right? Especially when there's resources behind it. But I think if you look at funding mechanisms now, and I'm thinking NSF, right? NSF today has moved, even as slow as NSF moves, they have moved light years ahead where they were even 10, 15 years ago in thinking about, the greater impacts of even the basic research that they fund. So, a big part of it is what is out there to push people along to be able to consider this. But I would stress that, the last thing that you want to do is just sprinkle social science, social behavioral and economic science kind of on top of a biogeophysical science project. That people will read through that very quickly. What you need to get to is what Reza said and Monica talked about, is that truly transdisciplinary approach. You need to understand each other, right? I mean, language here is important. When we talk, when a natural scientist talks about demographics, that's very different than a sociologist or an economist talks about demographics. So you need to be able to get together and understand and have a willingness to work with each other. But I think part of it also is that we need to find more social behavioral economic policy scientists to be on the faculties of the CSCs, to be able to have that engagement with our biogeophysical science colleagues.
Thank you. All right, guys, it's 1:30, and we promised that we would try to keep these webinars to 1 hour. And we want to thank again our two presenters. I mean, just a wealth of information that have opened up my mind, and I hope it has addressed yours. Dr. Grasso, thank you again. Dr. Yakowicz, thank you again. And we will make the recording and the slides available to everyone. So thank you for joining us. We will have these series from the educational leads at the CSCs every other month. So we look forward to seeing you the next time. Have a great day and stay safe.
Thank you.
Wear your mask.
Thank you.
Wash your hands.
Thank you.
Yeah.